wireless. And so here's the really fun part about this. Normally, when I do these events, we'll do a talk first, and then we'll do this part second. So we are getting to have a reverse timeline experience. And so normally, we would spend about an hour and a half or an hour talking about what we are about to do and telling you why it works, what happens when we do it, and really, I guess, to kind of cut to what my actual mission is right now, because I think for a lot of people, whether you're on the live stream or it's you guys here, most people will not have any idea who I am or what I'm doing. And so I say that because I am one of many on Earth right now, and some of those are you guys out here, and you know it. You know that you are called to this place to be, to do, to activate, to understand, to find a piece of yourself, to remember something. A lot of us don't even really know what it is. We don't really even know why, but we get drawn to these things over and over and over again. And I think the heart of my mission right now on Earth is helping people figure out what that is and why did we actually come here. And I guess I'll give you a little bit of like here's a little bit of a hidden detail. It's different for literally every single person. And if there's one thing that I've learned over the past few years is that the way that we sort of awaken, or one of many ways in which we can awaken or understand or further enhance our intuitive abilities, is through a process that we're going to do here today. And so in 2017, I launched, or sort of haphazardly or maybe strangely, psychotically walked away from my old life. For many years of my life, I'd worked in mental health treatment as a mental health counselor, working in addiction medicine with primarily the veteran population in San Diego, California. And it was a thing that I did. I never really regarded it as a really big part of my mission, but what it did is it sort of put me in touch with an organic process over a series of years in which I began to understand what I call the maladies of the starseed, some of these strange agreements that we make prior to incarnation to go through certain things, to experience certain processes, things like addictions, traumas, wars, abuses. In certain cases, we ourselves will be the abusers, but what I figured out during that process was that there was another version of a lot of us about to launch on the Earth plane. This was around 2012 when a lot of these things came into my awareness, but to rewind, in 2017, I made the choice to walk away from my old life entirely. I put my stuff on the curb. I left a marriage, a house that I owned, a career that I had, and I drove away because I had had these experiences with spirit, with what I understand to be extraterrestrial guides that came into my life, and they showed me that there was another reason for us being here, especially for me. They showed me moments like this before I even knew what this was. I did not even know what I was going to be doing. And so in the years since, myself and also my wife Honora in the back over there, we've been putting together a number of processes, and really through our own experiences, putting together a modality that quite literally helps us awaken our intuitive abilities. It helps people figure out what it is that we're doing. And there's a lot of people doing this on the Earth plane right now, and really our mission is to help you guys step into this place right here. And not to say this is the place for everyone, but there are many highly intuitive, highly aware, literally magical human hybrid beings walking the face of this planet. And there is no system, there is no school, there is no one modality that fosters or helps those people grow. And so if you're here, you probably have a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about. And so normally, like I said, we have lots of time to unpack what we're going to be doing here today. But that said, my primary mission is helping you guys become more a bit of a physical process today to help you open up what is known by many as the Dantians. Other people call them chi gates. What we're essentially doing is working with non-physical anatomy in your body. So the fun part is, get ready. Everybody's going to stand up, and we're going to do a little bit of movement. And so don't worry, there's just enough people here so we can all have total room. I don't know how they work that out, but everybody's got room. And so We're just going to start out. Don't worry if this is the first time you have ever done Qigong, if this is just a primer, if you've heard a lot of people talking about it in the world. There's a guy coming on after me who's going to tell you even more in a really beautiful way. But we're going to start out today with opening some meridian points. Now I have a couple mics on me, so it'll get awkward. But we're just going to put our legs a little bit more than shoulder width apart, and we're going to start shaking the tree. You're just going to wave your arms like wobbly noodles. Yeah, give yourself some room. Don't worry. There's really no wrong way to do it. There's a lot of purists in the world of Qigong that believe you have to have specific teachers and you got to move your body in certain ways. And yeah, that's true. But if there's one thing I've figured out, as long as you get up and start doing it and create a path of thoughtful, measured, connected movement, your meridians, your chakras will start to flow differently. Your body feels different. Your emotions process differently. And quite honestly, you guys, this is a dangerous thing to say. You'll stop getting sick. Things like that viral madness that everyone likes to chop up right now, that'll sort of leave your consciousness and you'll begin to just kind of operate on a different wavelength. It sounds like a fairy tale thing, but the literal avenue toward awakening, invisible muscles on your body that help you enhance your intuitive ability, that can literally create a bulletproof layer, and I mean on an energetic level, really comes with understanding and awakening some of these points. So you're just kind of flopping around, going back and forth. This helps us open up our hand meridians. For those of you guys that think you might have a path as becoming a hands-on healer, if you start to feel chi in your body, you'll start to burp a little bit as we're doing this. Your torso will get warm, and if you're really lucky, your hands will start to kind of throb, and you'll feel this sort of temperature rising in your fingers, and that's a really good sign if you're getting there. And so let's go to step 2, everybody. I'm going to stand in the middle, and hopefully you guys can see me. We're going to go a little bit more than shoulder width apart. And here's the fun part about Qigong. It's really not about being straight like an arrow. You want to move like water. You want to be able to flow and twist. And so we don't stick our butt out, but we kind of keep ourselves a little, a little curved, a little straight. And so what I like to do in the beginning is just kind of stand. And you're like a tree. And you put your legs out, and because we have a really good vibe going here, you're just going to kind of let yourself sort of move with the energy that's present. It teaches you a lot about the emotions in your body, because when we start to move like this in public, some of us feel a little bit strange. We feel a little bit wavy, a little bit self-conscious. You guys will already notice your body temperature's changing. Try lifting your arms up like they were branches on a tree. And as we inhale, we're gonna go up, and as we exhale, we're gonna notice how I'm breathing out, kind of like a snake, like a steam valve. We lift our arms up a little bit like a praying mantis. You'll sort of put your arms up, and you can even bend your knees a little bit, and as we breathe out, we go down. Very good. So we're going to go into a formal movement that just kind of de-stresses, depressurizes the body. This is the #1 most common Qigong move that I do literally every single day before every single client, which for better or worse has been far over, I think, almost 3,000 people over the last 5 years. Not that that's a good sign, because you can do something 3,000 times in a row. Doesn't mean you did it good, or it doesn't mean you did it right. But we've had a lot of practice, and so we're going to do this thing called lifting the moon. Some people call it carrying the moon. Now, if you can bend over all the way, it's really going to help, but don't worry, everyone's at a different stage. We're going to go all the way down. If you can go all the way down to the ground, I know some people can put their palms on the floor. If you're one of those people with flexibility, that'll help. But if you can't, no worries, just let yourself hang. Just kind of let your hands hang down. And you want to look at me for a second, because we're going to do a very particular thing. We're going to let our arms kind of wave once again, and it's going to be a bit where it's really a bit like you're scooping up energy. You're going to move it around like this current of fluid or liquid underneath your body. You're just moving your hands, swirling them around. I like to make strange little circles. You're really going to connect with the childhood self, that childhood imagination, and as you're bent over here, we're just really swirling these currents of energy underneath us. Here's where it gets really fun. You guys can watch me. What we do is we grab this energy, breathe in slowly. It's like this orb that you're pulling upward. all the way up. You're gonna hold it in the sky, look up into that orb of light, and as you breathe out, you'll take a recovery breath down here. Just a simple recovery breath, and then just let it fall out. And look, we're gonna go right back down, everybody. Why do we do processes like this? Because they help us open up the meridian flow in our body. They help us circulate emotional energy within our body. They help us open up the lymphatic system. Let's grab that energy down below. Here we go, guys. Pick it up like a orb of light. Breathe in real slow. All the way at the top. When you get up there, hold your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Don't worry if it's your first time and it's hard to gauge the breath. Do the best you can. And as we exhale, we you'll bring that down. You'll do a big recovery breath on the bottom. If you want to do it really fun, you guys pull your stomach in. This is a reverse breath when you pull your belly in. And then it's almost like you can imagine water's dropping out, like you're just letting everything flow. Some of you guys will notice your sides are getting a little sweaty. You're getting a little warm in places where it doesn't normally happen. And I want to say I'm counting on you guys to let me know our time, because I know we have someone coming up after this. But so that's a process that I do literally every single day. The reason why we do that is because it helps with a couple particular meridian points on the body. If you're not familiar with the meridian system, many people are, probably a lot of you guys here are, but if you're not, it represents, in my opinion and experience, the most immediately applicable non-physical element of your anatomy that it will just allow you to immediately shift the human body on a level that chakra work kind of does, but works a little bit differently. And so we're going to do another kind of a meridian opening Qigong maneuver, even simpler. This one's called lifting the sky. A lot of people here are already going to know what it is, but this is a really fun one because it helps your pericardium meridian. If you're wondering, why would I want to help my pericardium meridian? Well, that's really one of the avenues that allows us to project energy out of our hands. You guys have probably seen those YouTube videos where those Qigong guys or those Kung Fu masters are like, and they're making this fire in their hand. That's real. It is literally possible. And one of the most common is your pericardium meridian. How do we find it? Take your palm, make a fist, and just notice where your middle finger touches. When you go like that, that's the pericardium meridian. It's pericardium 8, and it's a huge energy portal. And so why do we want to open that up? That's what helps us project our energy outward and also protect our field. And so let me take a quick drink here. If there is anything I've learned over the past few years is I'm a really good example of the open throat chakra, and I'll just keep talking. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. So here's how this works, guys. You're gonna make your hands into L's like this, and you're gonna stand a little straighter, a little bit like a pillar, carrying the moons out here. We're picking up energy. This time we're lifting the sky, and so you're gonna be kind of straight. You're gonna put your hands like L's like this, as straight as you can. You don't have to lock everything. We don't have to tighten it. So watch me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a breath in real slow. At the top, look up and simply release. Now this is a fun one because a really good way to do this one is to release with your nose. It's an interesting thing. When you hold that pressure, you'll even find right about here, your body you'll need to press that breath out. See if you can do it with your nose and do it really slow. It's gonna be a little weird. Some of you guys will be like, oh, I know. So you guys already know. But here, we're gonna do this a few times. Hands down like L's. Here we go, breathe in. Look upward, breathe out. Making this full circle and do a recovery breath at the bottom. It's just a little breath that helps us get everything back together, and then you can simply push it down into the earth. So let's do that again. You'll notice how easily your hands want to reset into the L position. It's like everything will kind of stick together after a while, and that's a really good thing. It tells you that your hand meridians are open up. So let's make these L's Let's focus, take that breath in. Look up and release. Good job. We're going to do 2 more of those. Take that recovery breath and let it go. You'll notice how your body's already shifting. Things are quieting in your mind. Sometimes emotions will come up. That's a good sign. Most of our emotions right now, for a lot of us on the earth plane, they will become concentrated and sort of coagulate within specific areas of the energy body, like your spleen, which we're going to do a tone for in a minute. It's the best part. And also places like your lymphatic system. Why does that happen? Because the human physical anatomy and energetic anatomy are becoming linked on entirely new levels. Well, they're not really new levels. They are pre-planned and part of our physical and energetic evolution. And so it's very important that a lot of us, if possible, can begin practices such as these. These are the differences between people who honestly will remain slaves to a parasitic control system and those who will take their energy back. They will remember their true identities, they will gain those abilities, and they will become the living example of the spiritual warrior, the actual mystic, and those that came back here to heal not only ourselves, but everyone else out there. And so a lot of us right now, even just in doing these simple processes, if it's the first time you've done it, you're awakening another version of yourself. And so we're gonna do one more just movement here, a really fun one. How are we doing on time? Are we cool? We good? Okay. And so this is a little bit more complex. There's 3 parts of this. And what we're gonna be doing is specifically working with the Dantians. Eric Rains talked about them earlier. What they are essentially is 3 primary energy centers within the human body. A lot of us have heard a bit about the chakras, but what is also happening in addition to the chakras is we're experiencing what some people call a concentration of energy in the body. And over the next few life cycles, this one being very important, your energy will begin to concentrate in 3 energy centers within the self. And that's usually why a lot of us right now, and I know some of you guys here, you're already having astral travel experiences, you're already having telepathic communication with extraterrestrial consciousnesses, you're experiencing telepathic, messaging with others. These are the ways in which we actually awaken those abilities. So we're gonna do kind of a hybrid move. Part of it was actually influenced and created by Eric Rains himself, and I tend to take other people's stuff and always make it my own, so I always give them credit for that. But we're gonna do this process of opening up the Dantians, and so it's 3 parts. I'm gonna show it to you guys first. So we'll start from down below, and it's like we're gonna gather this energy up. And so some of you guys can kind of stand there and you can pump your legs a little bit, and yeah, perfect, thank you. And you'll sort of give yourself a little bit of kind of give yourself a little bit of energy, get your blood flowing. And so when you're ready, what you'll do is you'll stand, you'll put your legs far apart, and this one goes all the way up to the top. You scoop energy upward, a long inward breath, and bring it right down into the top of your head, to the 3rd eye, and let it out. You'll notice, look at my hands, they're like a triangle right here. And so your eyes are going right here into the center of this triangle. Why do we do this? It helps bring energy down into the crown and directly into the 3rd eye. Why would you want to do that? So that you can see what's going on, so that you can have a different layer of energetic and multi-dimensional awareness. A lot of people want to open the 3rd eye, but not everyone wants to open the other avenues that actually allow the 3rd eye to work. So we're going to be going with another one of those down below in a minute. But first, let me show you the move. So we'll gather energy upward, long breath in. You'll let it out. Your next breath, you grab that energy in front of you, pull it into the heart. Deep breath in, and you push it back out like a wall of energy before you. Once again, grab that energy, pull it down to your belly button. Deep breath in, and then sometimes it's like a torrent of water, like you'll feel that liquid energy simply drop out, like a bubble will burst. And so we're gonna do this together a few times. For some of you guys, it'll be like, how do we do this? Others will lock into it. Don't worry if you go a little different, if you do it at a different rhythm, or if things get a little awkward. It is truly about making an effort and opening yourself up. And so legs a little bit farther apart. The best part is that first breath, because you're pulling everything in. And so here we go. Gather down here, loosen up, deep breath. And release it right out of that third eye. Pull it into your chest. Next breath in. And push it out. Some of you guys are going to feel a vibration in your palms. That next breath goes right into the lower dantian, right at your belly button. You can even pull your chest up a bit and let everything flow. It's okay to be a little theatrical when we do this. You'll let your body, after a while, it'll want to twist and turn on its own. Let's keep going. Let's get that really big first breath. All the way down to your third eye. It's a long one. That first breath is really powerful. Pull it into your heart. This is your heart chakra. This is your pericardium. Push it outward. There you go. Very good, everyone. Bring it into your lower dantian. Right here to the belly button then. There we go. So you're gonna notice your temperature is shifting. You guys can keep doing it, keep on rolling. Your temperature is shifting, your body will start to open up. If it's the first time you're doing this, a lot of people often ask themselves, what does it actually feel like when you start moving energy? That was a big question for me. People were like, make an orb in your mind, create a pillar of light, and just put it in the room and you'll be saved. And honestly, I did not understand that. I didn't get it. I had to create my own way or figure out how to actually feel energy. When I began practicing Qigong, it was the first time in my life when I started noticing, okay, there's something happening. And so for those of you here, especially if this is the first time, by making this a daily practice, you will literally alter your consciousness to the extent that your awareness will shift. You will begin to perceive things differently. Things about yourself, your body, your emotions. You think, that's just the way that I am. People do this and I get triggered. These are my emotional patterns. By these simple practices, you can begin to release and deprogram those things. And so we're gonna go one step further and we're gonna use the voice. This will be our last process. Hopefully we're doing okay on time here. And so the other part of a lot of what we teach in this educational program is, not only how to open up the physical body, but how to attune what we would call the non-physical self to begin to send and receive energy on a different level. The reality is magic is real, and we are living in a time in which the magic is yours to create, magic is yours to remember, magic is yours to develop. It's really not something that will be given to you, it is something that you will find within yourself. But one of the ways that we have learned to help people awaken those abilities is through a practice known as scalar toning. And so we're going to do a very quick toning exercise. What is scalar toning? It's really just the process of vibrating your body to the extent that you create a multidimensional wavelength. I use it every single day in my energy clearings, in the work that I do, and in my opinion, it is a real extraterrestrial frequency. And so you guys can kind of relax for this one. You can even sit down if you want, but we're just going to kind of focus in. Now that you've done a little bit of energy body opening, just take stock of how you feel. Notice your temperature, notice your emotions, notice your thought forms. And you can even close your eyes, and I am going to check to see what our time is like. I know it's awkward when we do this on camera, so okay, we're good. And so I'm going to demonstrate it for you real quickly, and I'm going to tell you how did I come in contact with this. A lot of people have already heard me tell this story, so for some of you guys in here, you're like, okay, here we go. In 2017, I was working at a psychic shop in Los Angeles, just this strange little dirty hole in the wall. And I was on a kind of a lunch break, and I sat down to do a meditation, and for some reason on that day, something happened. And the second I closed my eyes, I was in an outdoor space, what I now understand to be in another dimension. It was a pure out-of-body experience, and in front of me were a group of very, very tall, dark, black-skinned humanoid men. They were doing some form of a dance, which I could probably do, but it would be very embarrassing. And it was very much what we would call a shamanic ritual. In looking back, now I understand that's what that process was. Those men came up to me, and they made a wall with their hands over my body. They came up, and they actually made this wall all the way over and all the way down over my back. And they arched around, they came back again, And as they walked toward me the second time, one of them blew this dust into my face, and I was immediately transported into a dwelling place, a physical dwelling place. And in front of me to my right about over here, was kind of like a stone table. And on top of that table was a child version of these beings, or what I imagine as a child version of these beings. It was a younger, more sickly version, and it had this big old crack on the side of his head. It was glowing, like this big kind of pulsating, glowing crack. I observed myself. I did not actively, consciously do this. I observed myself walk over to this child being on this table and remove what looked like a giant glowing slug out of its head. And it always sounds a bit silly when I talk about it now. I'm like, yeah, I'm having an out-of-body experience and I've removed a giant glowing slug out of the head of an alien child. Go try telling your friends that, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah. And yet that's literally what happened. And there were things after that occurred, and I often talk about it now in somewhat of a semi-humorous, sarcastic way, but it was an experience that utterly altered the course of my entire life. There was a sound that occurred when that experience took place, and what I found was about 2 weeks later, I was doing clearing sessions at this shop, and I started making the sound. I started mimicking it. It was like this thing where I began to, put my hands on people's body, and I realized that when I made the sound, certain things would open up and things would change, people would shake, emotions would come out. In certain cases, it got really weird and people turned into an animal in front of me. Other people spit on me. Other people went through cycles of identity and became gray aliens and Arcturians and beings from the angelic realm. And really what I realized is that it was a true multi-dimensional frequency. And so we're going to demonstrate that for you here, and then we're all going to do it. And so here we go. What's wild is this is a bit of an anticlimactic lead up. And so what I'd like you guys to do is just try to receive this vibration. Just close your eyes for a few moments. Take a couple of slow breaths. I'm just going to create a sound, and I'd like you to notice your emotions, your thought forms, what shows up in your body, even if it doesn't make any sense at all. I'm going to count from 3 to 1, and I'd like you to press all the breath out of your body. In 3, 2, 1. So that's the technology of scalar toning. Now here's the amazing thing about this. You already know how. There are many modalities on Earth that use the process of vocal modulation or expression to create a frequency. What is it that makes this difference? It is your intention. It is the power of intention, and it is the preparation that we go through by creating that intention, and also through using other, what I call energetic devices. Another one of those is called capsule phrases. These are unique multi-syllabic phrases that were given to me by our soul group, the Multidimensional Higher Self Council that I work with. And we're going to demonstrate another one for you guys. Then we're actually going to do both of them, the tone and then the capsule phrase. But this is going to be a really good one for everyone here, because a lot of us are working through our own blockages here. Everyone that comes to an event, you're going to go through a weird bubble of emotion. You're going to go through a cycle of anger or defeat, or a little bit of your old wounds will always rise up, especially when we get around all these empaths. And so one of the #1 places you can work with in your body is your spleen, and the spleen chakra, your spleen meridian. And one of the things we're finding out in 4th density, which is this wave of consciousness we're in now, is that when you work with the spleen directly, your emotional well-being changes, and it changes really, really fast. And so if you want, here's how you find your spleen. Just put your hand right about here, right next to your stomach. Go a little bit to the left, and don't worry, you can sort of eyeball it. You can just kind of press right here. So I'm going to give you guys the spleen capsule phrase. It's 3 syllables. I'll say it now. Da, re, O. Da, re, O. Some of you guys will feel your spleen. As soon as I do that, you'll feel warmth there. And so Da, re, O opens up the doorway from the front of the back to your spleen. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to open a doorway to front of the back of your spleen? Because it helps you let go of emotions from the past. That's where a lot of them go. So I'm going to do it for you, and then we're going to do Da-Re-O, and then after that we're all going to do a big tone. And so let's just zoom in on your spleen for a second. Tap into your emotional well-being, the memories in your body, all the conversations and people and faces and memories, and just tune into it for a moment. For a lot of us, that's your spleen. You'll notice your mouth gets a little dry, or sometimes it gets a lot of saliva. That's another way you'll know you're connecting with your spleen. But let's just hold it for a moment and acknowledge your emotions. I'd like you to let all your breath out in 3, 2, 1. Da-Re-O. Good job, you guys. We're going to do it 2 more times. Deep breath in. Beautiful, beautiful. One more. Let's take that breath in. Beautiful. And when you're done, here's the best part. Everybody gets to do this. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is create your own gesture of disconnection, and I'll show you the way I do it. Just rip that energy out, and the mic as well. I love it. We're having lots of mic fun, but you're going to find your own way. As I thank you everyone on the live stream. No, really, some of us will do a snap. Some of us will rip it out. I'll show you. Some of you guys that have done private sessions with me, you'll know the most common one that I do. It's the little pop, and it's why would we do silly things like that, you guys? Because we are at the stage in which your imagination is no longer your imagination. The things that we create within our internal space, as I kind of drool on myself here, those are some of the tools and the abilities. That's the seeding ground for what we call the reality that we are living in right now. And I know a lot of people already know this, but we entered the stage on Earth in which we're literally creating it now. And so when we condition places like our spleen, when we start to use scalar toning, which we're going to do one more tone, one last one in a moment. Sorry if I'm going on. When we start using these tools, we gain a much greater level of control over our reality, over your thoughts, over your desires. You are not stuck, and you are not a victimized being on the earth plane. And so we're going to do one last tone, everybody. This is just to clear the body. It's what I did in the beginning. It's a rich, hearty kind of a vibration that you let out of your throat. But here's the thing. I always have to say this because a lot of people use toning modalities. This is never a performance. It is never a song. It is never an arpeggio. It is you allowing the purity of your body and whatever you are able to muster to simply vibrate. And so because I do this every day with people, it's really easy and shameless for me to make weird sounds in front of, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make weird sounds. But for other people, there's always a little bit of our sort of 3D ego in there that's like, I don't know, what if I make this sound and it sounds weird and my voice sounds small or broken or weird, you know? That's actually perfect, actually. That's how you know it's real. And so let yourself be the awkward, strange version of yourself. And we're going to create an intention for this tone. And you guys are going to notice throughout the rest of this weekend how this kind of reverberates through your body. And the intention is that all those things, all those impossibilities, all the weirdness, the things that made you awkward and strange and unpalatable and difficult at other stages of your life, well, those are now your superhero abilities. Those are the reasons why you survived and why you persisted. And so we're creating empowerment, clarity, and just understanding for where we're being led next. And so I think we're going to hold the solar plexus on this one. So if you want to, put your hands right about here, right in the middle, our power center. And we'll just take 3 just last breaths. It's going to be like you're priming that pump. Just deep breaths, tuning into your anticipations, your desires, and the energies of everyone here. We just honor every being, every human, every spirit within this place. and we honor our ability to change. I'll count from 3 to 1. We'll take a deep breath in and just let yourself vibrate. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for doing this. Just notice how you feel. And thank you for hanging out. Jonathan White's going to come up next and talk about sexual kung fu. And honestly, I will say I got to see his presentation last month, and it's really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. And so thank you, everyone. You have just now practiced an extraterrestrial healing modality known as scalar toning. And you have also, for the record, you've done a direct meridian opening exercise. And so you can find me tomorrow. We'll be here at 11 o'clock doing a more structured talk with some slides. We have a table out there. But yeah, thank you, everyone. I'm Matthew. And that's it.